Every single time we see volatility in the market, it is always a catalyst or a narrative that get things kicked off and get the volatility going in the green direction or even the red. In crypto, some of those examples include the Bitcoin halving narrative, the DeFi summer narrative, the NFT bull run narrative in 2021, as well as the layer 2 narrative that we recently experienced. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what I believe is going to be the next catalyst or narrative that could send us into a mini bull market. And that catalyst is, you guessed it, the launch of zero knowledge proof technology in the zksync era mainnet. So in this video, we're gonna briefly cover what zero knowledge proofs are. And I say briefly because I've already covered it in this video and this video. We're going to talk about the launch of the ZK era mainnet, and then we're going to talk about my money-making strategy to take advantage of this opportunity, which includes investing into projects in the ZK era mainnet ecosystem, as well as getting ourselves qualified for airdrops within the ZK era mainnet ecosystem as well. And before I start, I do have to say this is not financial advice. Please consult with your financial advisor before making any investment decisions. This video is for your education purposes only. And as always, do your own research. So before we get started, I have no telling when this narrative is going to happen exactly. I am expecting the markets to bottom in June. I kind of talked about all that stuff in this video here. But if I had to guess, you think about all these projects that's taking market sentiment into mind. They probably want to get things going after the arbitrum hype starts to die down, but not too far away to give them an advantage. But it's always best to launch things when optimism is a little bit higher. No pun intended. So if I had to guess, we're probably looking at this narrative going into effect after we bottom in June. So probably summer or fall. So I'm making this video a little early potentially, but it could happen sooner. Who knows? Because ZK era is live. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, let me briefly explain what a ZKP is, which is a zero knowledge proof. It's just a way to help scale Ethereum or layer 1 blockchains. So you have optimistic rollups, which are an older technology, and then you have zero knowledge proofs, which are a newer technology and it's less battle tested. So like I said, I already covered the differences in the other video, but just to briefly run over it, the difference between the two are as follows. Optimistic rollups verifies the transaction later, hence the name optimism. They are optimistic that each transaction is legit, but there is a fraud proof time, and I believe it's around 90 days. And that's why it takes so long to bridge and do certain things on optimism. However, zero knowledge proofs verifies the transaction immediately and without knowledge, hence the name. And they have a different method about going about it. The famous example to explain what a zero knowledge proof is using Where's Waldo. So zero knowledge proofs are able to determine the truth of something without telling you how they got it. So in the Where's Waldo example, let's say you have a giant picture and you're looking for Waldo. A ZKP can show you where Waldo is, so it'll show you the picture, but it won't show you where it is on the picture. It'll just show a super small picture of Waldo showing that they found it, and then it doesn't tell you how it got to the conclusion. And this could be very useful in transacting services. Let's say we're doing importing and exporting, and I want to prove that I have X amount of product, but I don't want to show you other sensitive information. Like, there's so many use cases for this kind of technology, and like anything else in life, there are trade-offs. Zero knowledge is, like I said, is less battle tested. It's a newer technology, and it's computationally a little bit more strenuous on your hardware as well. While optimistic rollups take a longer time to verify things and are computationally less complex, resulting in their nodes having less hardware requirements. Another thing is EVM, which is Ethereum virtual machine compatibility, is much simpler on optimistic rollups as well. So the whole goal of these layer 2s, optimistic rollups and zero knowledge proofs, is to help Ethereum scale. And what I mean by that is Ethereum and all layer 1 blockchains, they have 3 layers. You have a consensus layer, a data layer, and an execution layer. Consensus says what's true, and that's proof of work, or with Ethereum, proof of stake now. Data is storage, so storing everything that's happened on that chain. And execution is finality. Right now, on most blockchains, all 3 of those things are happening on the mainnet. And in blockchains, you're competing for block space. So when you're having all those things happening, It's like everyone trying to fit in one train going somewhere. It's going to be expensive and it's going to be less seats because you have more people bidding on less seats or goods. What layer 2s are designed to do is take the execution layer and let it happen on the layer 2 so that it frees up space on the mainnet. And what happens is it bundles all those transactions, just like you go to a bar. You pay for something, you open a tab, and you pay for all the transactions at once instead of swiping your card every time you want to buy a drink. You know how long the line at the bar would be and how less fun it would be to go and hang out there? It's the same thing with blockchains. These layer 2s bundle up all these transactions at once. Not only do they bundle them up, but they compress them and then submit them to the main chain. So once the transactions are submitted, it's less data as well. This is like similar to compressing a folder. When you compress a folder and you send it, the receiver gets it. It's not a lot of data. They can download it. And then once they unzip the folder, then they're able to get access to all the files. These layer 2s do the same thing. And with zero knowledge proofs is advances in cryptography that allows this to happen. And with ZKPs, they actually compress the data and then roll it up. So it's similar to double compressing, which is supposed to make Ethereum scale even more, which will help raise the transactions per second way, way higher. Right now, Ethereum can handle like 14 transactions per second. So the ZK era is live, and I actually got to talk to the team at ETH Denver. That's where I got this shirt. Really smart guys, really tight-knit community. They were super happy to talk to people no matter where their knowledge was. And like anything else, the early bird always gets the worm. So people who invest into zksync projects early, particularly the right ones, and we're going to cover what we think some of those are here a little bit later in the video, will be rewarded. How do I know this? Look at what happened with Arbitrum. When Arbitrum released, those early projects captured most of the market share, and the projects did extremely well, not just in the bull market, but in the bear markets too. Particularly the decentralized exchanges and the exchanges that launches on the platform. And before I show you proof, let's cover why this is. So right now we're on the Coinbase Master Plan article, and this was published in 2016 by Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. They essentially talk about the rollout of technology and how the internet compares to crypto. So the phases we go through are the protocol gets built first, then infrastructure, then the consumer interface, then application. So with the internet, the protocol was TCP/IP, which is Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. Infrastructure was fiber optic cables, ISPs, etc., etc. The interface was the internet browser, and the applications are things like Facebook, Instagram, things that people are actually using. Now, when we look at crypto, we have those same parallels. The protocol, for example, is Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it talks about the people it helped reach as well. The infrastructure is exchanges and secure storage, and then the interface is a controlled wallet, and then the applications are like the Aves and the Uniswap, etc., etc. Particularly here, I want to talk about 1 and 2. In the case of zksync, I want to let you guys know how this fits in, because it's the same thing, and this will help you invest into technologies for the rest of your life, because it always goes to the same parallels. The more I study the internet and how it grew, the more I'm able to see how Web3 is going through those same things. So this protocol level here, you can put zksync era right here, right? And the infrastructure is decentralized exchanges. It's the same thing that happened with Arbitrum. And the reason why exchanges help bring on the next group of people is because in order to interact with the applications, you need to be able to buy the tokens first. The exchanges are the on and off ramps that help people get into this digital world. So this is really important. Now let's cover some of the exchanges that initially launched on Arbitrum and look at how they perform. So first you had Gains Network. You could have got it for as low as 26 cents and sold it for $12.48. And again, this is during the bear market as well. Like you see this recent mooning. The next project is the Camelot Exchange. And you could have got the Camelot token for $149 and sold it for as much as $4,643. And then lastly, I'm sure you've heard of this one. This is GMX, the darling of DeFi. A lot of people call it. And you could have got GMX for as little as $11 and now it's trading at $87. And this is all through the bear market. And you can see it's just trending upwards. So it's for these same reasons that I think decentralized exchanges on the ZK era mainnet are also going to do just as well, if not better. So I'm going to show you my favorite exchanges that I plan on continually buying and why I think they're going to moon as the ZK era mainnet continues to get built out. Another thing to keep in mind is you had the Uniswap v3 license expire a few days ago. So their concentrated liquidity liquidity feature, which allows you to provide liquidity within a given range, just expired. Now protocols can legally fork the Uniswap v3 code. So now, and that wasn't the case with Arbitrum. So now we're going to see more concentrated liquidity exchanges popping up on ZK era mainnet as well, which could make this thing even sweeter. So the first exchange I'm looking at is the Zigzag exchange. They have a fully functioning order book DEX on zksync Lite, and they're available on Arbitrum, and they're going to be launching on ZK era mainnet pretty soon. More importantly, they've made a few announcements. In June of 2022, they said currently Zigzag offers spot trading on zksync due to infrastructural limitation. At the release of zksync 2.0 and Starknet, the introduction of margin trading and perpetual futures, which is huge, with permissionless listing allows us to compete with the largest centralized exchanges. And they also said March 3rd of this year, revenue sharing token Zigzag will share revenue from the fees generated on the upcoming ZK rollups with spot margin trading and perpetual futures. A community-driven exchange that's truly decentralized in every sense, including profit sharing, is what's coming. So they're hitting on two important things. The first one is perpetual futures. Most of the liquidity in TradFi comes from futures because it allows you to hedge your risk. You know, like for example, if I'm a farmer or if I'm buying corn and I don't know what the price of corn is going to be next winter or next harvesting season, I can lock in the price of my corn that I buy. So if corn is higher than expected, well, hey, I just saved my ass. But if it's lower than expected, well, hey, at least I didn't have to pay up the wazoo to get it. So futures is huge. So they're planning on launching that. In addition, one of my favorite narratives is real yield. We've talked about that before as well. So they're planning on sharing the revenue with liquidity providers, just like GMX, and we see how GMX is performing. Obviously, they're going to be competitors for that as well. So I think Zigzag can do really, really well as the ZK era continues to get built out. And if we look at their chart, this chart is just beautiful to me. You know, we saw this thing launched at $3 and some change. It went all the way up to $5 and some change, and now it's hovering back down at around 58 cents. So this is super asymmetrical because it's most likely not gonna go much lower than this. And even if we got in now, just to get back to the previous all-time high is 857%. Let's look at DeFi Llama to look at the next project. You go over here to chains and you click ZK era. We can see everything is rising because people are anticipating the airdrop. So we see number one in TVL is 63 million with SyncSwap. These are all decentralized exchanges here. So the next project I'm looking at is Mute. So Mute is also a decentralized exchange, but they have amplifiers and bonds coming out shortly. They're launching something new, and people like new stuff. So Zigzag and Mute are planning on launching big things here. So now let's go on to the next project, and this one is Tokenless, which offers an airdrop opportunity, and they actually already confirmed it. And that project is SyncSwap. And like we covered, they're number one in TVL, probably because people want that airdrop. How do I know? If we look at their Twitter, they announced it. Let's Sync. We're happy to announce that SyncSwap will have its token in the future, and the ticker will be Sync. Note, the token has not yet been created. Be aware of scams. And just to increase your chances of getting the airdrop, I would go on here, I would click pools, and I would provide liquidity. You know, interact with the smart contracts a little bit. This will also set you up for a ZK era mainnet airdrop as well, which we'll talk about in a bit. But if you click mainnet and you hit testnet here, you hit rewards, and it talks about this ySync. It says you will be rewarded with ySync for every trade on eligible pools. Based on volume, you will automatically receive one ySync for every $1 in trading fees. And it's some kind of loyalty program, so this might help you get the airdrop as well. So you click faucet here, and then it allows you to claim when you follow the steps and everything like that. You know, this is literally just free money here. Okay, so that's my strategy for buying into the ZK era mainnet ecosystem project. Now let's talk about potential airdrops that we can get set up for. So we already talked about SyncSwap. Let's talk about a few others. The first one is the ZK era mainnet. Okay, we already talked about this one. And I'll leave links to all these Twitter links here so you can literally just follow the directions step by step. I did it, and every time I help my friends do it, I would just do it on a different wallet. Like I've had a couple airdrop parties with some friends. So if it's another situation like the Arbitrum airdrop, we'll do pretty good over here, okay? And I want you to as well. So it gives direction here. Start by using the official bridge of zksync, which allows you to bridge. Obviously, it leaves the link here. It gives some of the dApps here. I also provided liquidity on SpaceFi as well. And then I use the Orbiter bridge to bridge over there because they don't have a token as well. So you could also get set up for a potential airdrop if they do one. And then buy some NFTs on this website just to interact with the smart contract. It gives you the link where you can check a list of dApps on the ZK era mainnet. And it talks about how zksync has raised like almost $500 million. So the more investment that they have, the more those investors got to get their money back. And like I've covered in multiple videos, when projects are VC backed, these VCs have limited partners who have to make money as well. And the only way to make their money is for these companies to get acquired, which is less than likely, go public, which is pretty much non-likely at all, or release a token, which is the most likely scenario. This one gives you directions as well. You can bridge over to ZK Lite, provide liquidity on the Zigzag exchange. I already went to that website, not on the Arbitrum network, but on the ZK Lite. And then just do like a couple swaps as well. I would make some swaps on Mute. We already covered that one. And then Nexon.finance. And the same thing with SyncSwap. The more you do on SyncSwap to get lined up with that airdrop, the better, to be honest. This next one is ZK Scroll. And it even gives you how long this would take. Like most of this stuff is really, really quick. So you hit this website, you get some testnet ETH for free. And then you interact on the testnet. You bridge 50% over to the testnet ETH Scroll. That way you still have some for other airdrops you want to farm and other stuff you want to do. It's always best to leave some. And then you join their guild for a special role in their Discord. And then he shows you how to interact with the Scroll testnet. So you go to the Scroll Uniswap. So you go on Google and type in Scroll Uniswap, and then you import USDC. And I've already tested this, so it's legit. You import this token address. It'll get you USDC test tokens, and then you swap ETH for USDC and provide liquidity into the pool. And it's like every time someone trades in that pair, it's almost like you're interacting with the smart contract every time because you're getting paid. Talks about why Scroll can be a winner. They recently raised an additional 50 million, total of 80 million raised with a valuation of 1.8 billion. So they're most likely going to do an airdrop. And the last one is Starknet, and it gives you directions on how to get set up with an airdrop for Starknet as well. You have to download the Argent wallet. This one can take a little bit of time. After you get it over there, visit this website, buy some super cheap NFTs, connect your Argent wallet. That's going to be this little linky dinky right here. And then it literally lays out the entire strategy for you to do so you can get set up with the airdrop, and that's it. So with that, I like to conclude this video. The ZK era mainnet is upon us. We've already had trial runs with Arbitrum and Optimism. All we have to do is do the same thing. This is like, I'm not gonna say it's a guaranteed way to make money, but it's one of those high conviction trades that you're probably gonna make some money if you get in early. And right now we're still very, very early. As you can see, the entire TVL on the whole ZK era mainnet is like 121 million. So I thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Let me know in the comments if I missed a project on the ZK era mainnet that I should have covered. You know, I'm always open to constructive criticism and feedback, or just, you know, to have a conversation. So with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I ask you to consider subscribing. I love every single one of you watching, and I will see you in the next video.